What is going down, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Camping with Coleman. It's your boy Josh, aka Coleman, and today I am sitting down to put together some Vanquish Products Method Racing wheels. They're pretty badass, if you ask me. I'm pretty stoked on them. They are a little bit crazy with the hardware. Lots of hardware to put these little guys together. I will show you. I already took the packages apart and started working on them here. And here is the one I'm getting ready to put together now. And I just want to break it down, show you what they come with. They do have instructions here, as you can see. Real simple. Boom, boom, boom. It's not that hard, not rocket science by any means. It's just they have a lot of hardware that goes with them. So I've already been working on some of them. I've got 3 of them put together, and I'm just going to kind of briefly go over this last one here with you guys so you can see what it takes to put a set together. So you take those apart. Here is the outer ring here. You can see that it is kind of cut in, so you got flush mounted hardware, so your hardware is not going to be hanging up on stuff. Here's your inner ring here. Here is the actual face of the rim itself, which is just a beautiful satin black. Just sexy, if you ask me. I think that's pretty nice. Here's the back side of it here, so you can get an idea of how these are shaped. And a lot of you guys have put these together by now. They've been out for a long time. But if you're like me, you're new to this whole Vanquish Products thing, and you're probably curious, how do these all go together? What is the difference between these and other rims out there? And so I'm trying to give you some close-ups here. So there we have it. And I apologize, I do have my heater going in here right now, so you'll probably hear that in the background a little bit. It's cold outside. It was below 0 last night, and it's probably not far from that now. So I want to keep it warm in here. So the tires that I'm going to be putting on these are these. These are RC 4-wheel drives, Rock Crushers. They are Rock Crusher KT 2.2s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip this tire off of this rim real quick, and then we're going to put that together. Alright, so I got the last one out there. Pulled the old rings off. You can see I had mismatched rings on some of these. I'll go ahead and set these over here as well. Along with that old hardware, we'll just slide over there. Alright, so I'll go ahead and pull this out. Now, normally I would replace the foam on this, but it's actually, for being stock foam, it's not in that bad a condition, and I've gone through the other ones. None of them are ripped, none of them have been saturated, so I'm pretty stoked on it. It's pretty simple. First thing we're going to do is basically we're going to attach the front rock ring here. We're going to attach that on there like so. Let's get another one in on the other side. I'm trying to do this one-handed here, just for video's sake. It's kind of like a balancing act, I'm not gonna lie. May not work. Let's see if we can do this without cross-threading. That's what's really important, is making sure you don't cross-thread. If you cross-thread anything, alright, nice. You're not gonna be happy later on. These are expensive wheels, and messing up threads is not ideal. So once you get the rock ring installed, we'll have all the screws in. Don't cheat your way around that, trust me on it. Make sure you install all of them. Then that will sit down in there like so. Alright, so let's go ahead and finish that up real quick. Alright, looks like they're all tight. I just like to go around and check them all and make sure. You don't want to strip them, you just want to make sure they're tight. So you don't need to just apply enough pressure to just make sure they ain't gonna move. Alright, so there we go. There's the ring all installed. Looks nice and clean. You guys can see for yourselves. Look at that. Pow! So, then just drop that right in there like so, right? Boom. But I like to do something. At this point, they would tell you go ahead, put that in there, and then take the, well, you take this right here, slip this down inside of here, right? And now, once that's all evened out, then you drop that in there, right? And then you go to the other side and start putting it together. But I'm going to do something a little bit different. This is not a fast vehicle. This is not a vehicle that is going to be jumping or bouncing around or anything like that. This is going to be a very slow moving, very powerful, torquey, and yeah, I said that, an extremely heavy truck. So that being said, we're trying to think ahead here. So what I've been doing is weighting these wheels. So I'm going to go ahead and weight these. Show you guys just a real quick way to do that. A lot of people don't weight their wheels anymore. I understand that. I have nothing against that. Actually, a lot of my trucks don't have the wheels weighted. But I have a way that I make my heavier trucks perform good. And of course, you know, having a heavy truck means that you need to have a lot of weight down low. So one of the things that I do is I always weight my wheels, and I weight them a specific way. I'm not going to fill everybody in on that, because whenever I do like to do competition stuff or whatever, I have my own way to do it. But I will show you a real quick, easy way to get some wheel weights on here. A lot of my buddies do this, and it's a real easy way to do it. So what we do is we use fishing weight, lead weight, like this right here. Comes in rolls, and then you can unroll it and wrap it around your center section on your wheels, right? And then if you're going to be going fast, it's usually not the best idea, because a lot of weight on moving wheel just is not good for your drivetrain. So you should probably think real hard about whether or not you need to weight your wheels. However, when you're doing slow crawling and you have a lot of gear reduction and a lot of power, and you need that weight down low to offset the weight up high, this is a great way to do it. So that is one of the things I do. We're going to go ahead and get started on that real quick. Alright, so this isn't really supposed to be a tutorial or anything. Like I said, everybody does stuff their own way, and I don't like to tell people this is how you should do things. I just like to say this is how I do things, because, you know, it works for me, may not work for you. And, you know, I think most of us have realized that over the years as we built RCs. And for those of us that are new, this is a good opportunity to try it out. You can see if this works for you, and if it doesn't, then you can always remove the weight. But just remember, if you're running like a Ultra 4 buggy or something like that, you don't want to do weight usually. I'm sure some guys might, but straighten it out. This makes it harder in the end. And then what I do is I just kind of shape it to it, and slowly start to roll it up. Now, it won't just roll up perfect the first time usually. Usually you'll have to unroll it at least once and straighten some stuff out. That's okay. You just want to keep it as tight as possible. There's all kinds of ways to do this. I also used to weight my wheels all the time with, you know, just lead weights, individual weights. Now, because this wheel is going on Hercules, it's got to be really heavy, and that's okay. That is okay. Chances are this build is going to be somewhere around 20 pounds when it's all said and done. And that'll be probably my heaviest truck ever. So we're going a little extra on the weight. Normally I wouldn't put quite this much, but we're going a little extra heavy on the weight. I actually got a real nice tight wrap on that one. That's not bad at all there. So now I'm going to go ahead and just back and forth until it breaks off. Boom. Just like that. Take that, set it aside. And I'll take my pliers. And I will work that piece back into place because it's usually worked out from doing that. Alright. There we go. So when it's all said and done, it's kind of like that there. And then what you can do is, if you want, go ahead and run some tape over this, some electrical tape or duct tape, whatever you got, you know, and just tape it up so that it doesn't kind of unravel itself. I'm not going to worry about it in this because I'm going to be going so slow and there's going to be so much pressure on there that it's very little chance of that happening. So at that point, then I will get it back into the center of the rim. You want to make sure that your foams don't get twisted up on you. If they do, straighten them back out. Make sure that it's even. It just saves you headache later. You don't want your wheels wobbling around. Alright. So now we've got our center ring inside there. We're going to start fitting this thing back together. Now I'm not really sure exactly what it is that determines this, but one side usually fits better one way than the other for some reason on these tires. Oh yeah, and the one thing I was gonna do before I put those together is this. Let me get this bad boy right here. This is the hub assembly here. I'm gonna go ahead and rip that open and I'll attach that. You want to be careful when you do this. Now I don't just force it in. What I do is I go in a little bit, back it out, go in, back it out, and make sure that it's actually threading properly. You do not want to cross thread anything when you're putting RC stuff together. Always turns into a headache later. You see how I started that, put it in, turn it the wrong way, just back it out till you hear it click. You know that it's ready to go. Boom, you heard that? And then I can go forward. Just a little extra precaution, make sure that you're not going to strip nothing out. Alright, so now that'll look like that there. So, go ahead and set this down in here. And you can see it's just a little loose, so I gotta really make sure it seats right, but I think that's gonna work actually. Now what you gotta do is you gotta line up, see those 5 holes there? Now take those 5 holes and line them up inside here with the 5 holes on the other side. Get those lined up properly, and then you gotta kind of work the bead in, make sure that the bead gets seated properly, because it is really easy for the bead to kind of sneak out on you. Now what a lot of people do is they will use a longer screw and run it in there to start it, and then follow up with the shorter screws, right? I don't have a longer screw on me, so we're going to just make this work with what we got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a few screws in here, maybe all of them. Yeah, I guess we can try to put them all in. And then we're going to just try to squeeze this bad boy together. See if we can just get the very tip started on a couple of these. Make sure they're really lined up right. Make sure that bead is really in there. Get it down nice and low. Alright, once it's close, I'll apply pressure on the opposite side. That way I can make sure that I don't go in sideways. And the same thing, I go backwards till I feel it, forwards a little bit, and there you go. Got that side. Now we're going to do it on the other side. So again, make sure that your bead, whoop, I pulled a screw out there. Make sure that your bead is still seated. You guys can see the bead is still seated there. Got all the screws are still in there, so I can't tilt it too far, but what I do now is, just because I got that other one together, I push down and match that side. I'll go backwards till I feel it, and then go forward just a hair. And there we go. Grabbed it, but you see, it popped the bead out a little, so I'm gonna loosen it, get it to let go, push that bead down in there, get it to seat nice. You really gotta have patience when you do these. There we go. We're gonna press her back together and go backwards, click, there we go, go forward, and I think we have got it. So now we will evenly cinch this down here. Alright, get them all started like so. There we go. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do a cross pattern back and forth, basically. Make sure that this bead does not pop out on us. Maybe even apply a little pressure. And you don't want to go too far, just a little bit at a time. Once it feels tight, go to the next one. There, it's just about tight. As you can see, it just takes a little patience. You can usually get it in. It's looking pretty good. Looks like there's a slight pinch point, but not bad. I think we'll survive with that. Now, I got them mainly down. I'll go around. Just make sure they're all nice and tight. You don't want to overdo it. Again, you don't want to strip these out. Alright, and there we have it. Here's the back side. You can see the bead there. It is all in. For some reason it's a little tighter right here. Not really sure why, but it is all in. It's not coming out. And it's not bad for being an old set of tires. I thought for sure I wouldn't be able to get them on here. Oh, we popped a bead out front. Look at that. You see that? Popped a bead out front. So that means we're going to have to loosen this back up. Hit it again. And this is where the patience comes in. Just got to be patient with it. That's okay. It is okay. A lot of people get way too upset and too frustrated when they're working on RC stuff. I see it all the time. That's why I don't mind posting this up, because I want people to see that it does require patience a lot of times. You gotta slow down and figure it out, you know. It doesn't always work perfectly. Not everything is a bolt-on part here. So there we can see the bead is completely out. Alright. So we're going to fix that problem. We're going to loosen it up on that side the most. That way there's room to adjust it. We're going to try to get her back in without having to open the wheel all the way up. At least that's the goal. Alright, 2 screws all the way out. I don't know, will we be able to do this? We're really pushing it. Might have to pull it all the way apart. It's going. It's going. This might work. Sometimes you just gotta massage it in place. Alright. I think we might have just got it, guys. Nice. Now what we gotta do is go around and double check. Just make sure it's seated all the way. Alright. This is looking pretty good. I think she's seated nice. You can see now it's all back together there. We lost 3 of our 2 screws in the back and loosening that up. So that means it's going to be sitting a little off like that. So we're going to go ahead and try to even that out. Put some pressure on the opposite side. Just going a little bit. And we really got to keep an eye on it, make sure that these don't pop out. I'll add these other 2 screws back in. And then go ahead and start tightening it back up. Alright everybody, so we've got these Method Racing VP wheels all put together here, and or Vanquish Products Method Racing. I don't really know how I should say that, but they're all put together here. Let's take a peek. Method 105 beadlock 2.2s. That's what they are. They're the Method 105s. So I should probably get the name right. Method 105 wheels from Vanquish Products, along with some RC 4-wheel drive Rock Crusher KT 2.2s. And good lord, those are sexy. Compared to what I had on there before, day and night difference, you guys. Day and night difference. So yes, there we have it. They are ready for action. I am pretty stoked. You guys, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode of Camping with Coleman, or possibly on the next episode of Motor Control. Alright, you know what it is. Piece of chicken grease.